Hello everyone and welcome to the Grumpy Surfer podcast. I am the Grumpy Surfer and your host, Ads Lyson. Before we get started, if you want to get 20% off your Brawl Surf merchandise, go to brawlsurf.co.uk and input the discount code, capital letters, Grumpy Surfer to get 20% off your Brawl Surf gear. Also, if you go over to Ombi Surf, so Ombi Surf is a surfing program designed for intermediate surfers to advance their surfing through a series of programs, including the 12-week accelerated surf program, which I'm still doing, and has dramatically improved my surfing through lots of different things like cobbled surfer, bow shoe surfer, etc. So if you go to ombe.co/ref/grumpy surfer, go through the links to get 10% off any of the Ombi packages and start your training program today. So this week's podcast guest is a guy that I've been watching for a long time. He creates his own jiu-jitsu and motivational videos on YouTube, and he's also a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, owns his own academy over in Canada, and is quite a creative and a very inspirational guy in himself from the north of England. Well, he's north of me anyway. I had a really cool conversation with him. So please enjoy my conversation with Stuart Cooper of Stuart Cooper Films. Stuart Cooper, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
3 questions before I even start. How are you? Where are you? And have you trained today?
I'm doing good. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada right now. I've been here for 2 years. And no, I haven't actually trained today. I was going to, but I've got a busy day. I'm flying to Denver, Colorado tomorrow. So I've got a clean house. I've got a cat sitter coming in to look after my cats. I've got to go to the airport to do an antigen test. Still need to pack my bags. There's a lot of things I got to do. But I will be training tonight.
I didn't know there was such thing as a cat sitter.
There's cat sitters and dog sitters, but it's actually a girl from one of my students from my classes, and it turns out she actually does this kind of on the side, just for friends and family. So I've got 2 rescue cats. I didn't realize how much hard work it would be. Just going away traveling, you've got to get someone to look after them, and sometimes it's difficult.
From what I've realized over the years is I had a dog a few years ago, and animals, especially felines and dogs, are more like children than children are, and they require a lot of attention. And
mine do. Yeah, my cats are very friendly, like dogs, and they might even jump up on me during this podcast. We'll see. But yeah, they need a lot of attention. I mean, I could get my neighbours just come in and feed them twice a day, but it's not the same. I want someone actually to look after them, and be with them.
So how we first sort of started talking was back in February, and this is going to sound really bad on my behalf. And you put out a Marcelo Garcia edit, and I was a naughty boy, and I copied it and I put it into a post, and then you told me off basically. I was like that.
Actually, I remember that, but it happens all the time. It's just, I don't mind when people just post a clip of it, but it's when they post the full video. And even Dave, I put out a Cron Gracie, Gary Tonin video edit that I made, I think it was a year ago. And Dana White, actually, it was awesome that Dana White saw it and liked it, but he ripped it off my YouTube channel and uploaded it on his own Instagram. And it got 1 million views on his Instagram. But if he had actually shared the link and not ripped my video off, that would have been $17,000 in my account, which I didn't get. So because everyone watched it on his Instagram, but not mine. But still, it's Uncle Dana. It's it's promotion. I got a lot of followers, and But yeah, these things happen all the time with Instagram.
Do you know what? I was actually absolutely devastated because I love your stuff. Obviously, being doing jiu-jitsu myself, and it's only since I've started doing this podcast where I've realized that money. I don't understand the concept of monetizing because I don't make any money out of this. I haven't done anything like that. And to be honest with you, because I've got like a three-way niche with like grappling, the military, and surfing as well. It's not like focused at one thing, so I'm trying to grasp at like three different things, and it's quite difficult to get listeners for that. You've got people that do, but not everyone wants to listen to about surfing or listen about grappling, or so they go to those other platforms. But when I've started to look into it, like you have, you actually make money out of like all the edits and stuff that you do. We'll talk about that later as well. But how are you finding all of that? Was it something that you just kind of came into and you thought, I can make a couple of quid out of this?
Oh, honestly, I don't make that much money out of doing these videos. Never really have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a cat when we speak. Yeah, like when I first started my YouTube channel, I used very popular music. So I didn't actually monetize my YouTube channel. I didn't really look into it. I didn't think you could actually make that much money on YouTube. Now I realize you can make a lot. Some people making, millions and millions of dollars, but you have to be getting the millions and millions of views. But over the years, I did make, some money on the side, with sponsors and that kind of thing. But last year, during the first lockdown, I actually went back and re-edited most of my content and swapped the music. So now I've actually monetized my channel. So it's been monetized for about a year, and it brings in, a decent amount of money. Like with my salary from jiu-jitsu, teaching jiu-jitsu and my YouTube channel, it's it's enough.
Yeah, it's good that you can do that in this day in age as well. And it's quite interesting you say that, because when you ask my daughter's 9, you ask her, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you're older? And the first thing she says she wants to be a gamer, but she doesn't even play like games. She plays stuff on the phone, which I find really weird. And then she says that she wants to be a YouTuber. And back in the day, well, I'm 40. So, when I was her age, that didn't even exist. And it's really weird that, if you're good at what you do and you've got some sort of character or charisma, you can actually make some money out of it. I mean, she used to watch like these families over in America, and they've got millions and millions of followers, and they send these families like all these toys and stuff to kind of review. And I'm like, this is just something that's just opened up through people posting content. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, look at that Jake Paul. I mean, he's and Logan Paul. I don't know how they got so many followers, because I'm not even sure. I actually don't know much about the background, but they're obviously, world famous and bringing in millions of dollars.
I think they just did like a few, funky videos, and they were kind of popular by doing that, but they were just into boxing anyway. And then I think they got to the point where they probably were messing around and just offered a couple of people out, and they went, all right then.
Yeah.
It's a strong shout though.
Yeah. If you've got something people are interested in, the problem with jiu-jitsu, it's not that mainstream yet. So it only gets hundreds of thousands of views. But MMA is, much more, has way more fans, and I do find that the MMA content, that some of those videos do get millions of views. I actually have a friend who's pulling in something like 20 to 30,000 a month US dollars on YouTube, just with MMA content. So I love jiu-jitsu, so I do think about maybe switching over, making some MMA films, which I will actually. I'll mix it up a little bit.
Well, you've got a lot of guys now coming from the UFC and competing in jiu-jitsu as well, haven't you?
So, yeah.
They've come to like that. I guess not retirement age, but they're like they're in the late 30s, early 40s, and they're coming over and do some grappling comps now, which is kind of cool. And I guess when you see those high level guys coming over that have got a fan base behind them, and people see them in these competitions, that can only sort of like make it grow a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So you're originally from England, right? So let's just talk a little bit about your background. So where did you grow up, and how did you get into grappling and making films?
So I was born in Bristol, but I was actually brought up in Preston. in the northwest of England.
Hence the accent.
Yep. I've definitely lost it a little bit. When I go back to, my hometown, I sound very different to my friends because they all still live, back in Lancashire. And it's funny, they make fun of me, make fun of my accent when I go back.
Yeah, you've got like a little bit of a northern twang with a little bit of like Canadianism and some Americanism there as well.
Yeah, it's a mongrel accent. I moved away from England when I was 25, went to Brazil, then all over America, Thailand. When I first went to America and I just had my thick northern accent, people couldn't understand what I was saying. I had to really slow it down. So I think over the years, unconsciously, of like my accent's changed so people, you can understand me much more clearly. But when I got into grappling, I was at university in London and I got my degree. And then I got my, it was around this time I actually saw UFC on TV, and that's when I started training. I started with Muay Thai boxing, and then I saw the MMA class on afterwards, and I finally got the courage to go to some of the MMA classes. But it was the ground game that really fascinated me. Because everyone kept taking me down, putting me arm bars, chokeholds, and it seemed way more effective than striking to me at the time. And I was like, I really want to, I don't know, it just seemed more fun to me as well. So I asked them, what is this ground stuff? Can I just do this, but separate? And like, yeah, this is jiu-jitsu. So after I got my degree, I moved back up to the northwest England, and I had to move back in with my parents for a while I looked for a job. And this is when the recession hit, so it was very hard to get a job at this time. And yeah, that's when I took up jiu-jitsu pretty much full time from day one, just because I didn't have anything else to do, just looking for a job. And I had a few part-time jobs here and there, but I could never stick any of these jobs out, like in customer service, I was working in macro, working in mountain warehouse, selling ski jackets. I just went from job to job to job. I either got fired or I left just because I had no passion for that particular job. And then I did get a job down in London for like a media company, but it was like 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. And jiu-jitsu at Roger Gracie Academy in London would start at 6:30 p.m. So I'd have to get on my bike and race to the academy, to get there for 6:30. And that was like the highlight of my day. And I hated my job. I hated my life in London. I was getting paid, I think £1,200 a month. And my rent was like £800 a month. So I was like, I was broke all the time. Like, is this my life? Is this what this is going to be? And then I actually spoke to my professor and was like, do you reckon I could take up jiu-jitsu as a living? He goes, yeah, you definitely could, but you've got to put in the work. You've got to like really commit yourself to it. So I ended up quitting my job in London, which my parents were not happy with. And I moved back up to northwest England again. And that's when I started training full time, doing all the local tournaments. I was winning a lot of the local tournaments, in the northwest of England. And that's when I got I dislocated my arm in a training session. So I was out for a year because I couldn't train. But that's when I picked up a video camera just to, for something to do. And I started filming all my friends training at the academy. I would go to the local tournaments and film them competing, make little highlight videos. And through that, I met a guy called Jason Tan, who is the founder of the MMA Academy in Liverpool. He was one of the promoters of some of the grappling shows at that time. And he actually approached me and said, hey, you do really nice videos. Have you thought about filming seminars? I've got Ryan Hall coming over. I had to do a seminar at my academy. Why don't you come and film it and then do an interview with him? So I was like, yeah, why not? Sounds like a good idea. So I did that, put the video together, put it on YouTube, and it got quite a few thousand views. And then he put me in contact with Gunnar Nelson, because Gunnar Nelson came over to do a seminar. And then Jeff Monson. I edited these videos together, put them online. People seemed to like them. And then next thing you know, I'm getting put in contact with Braulio Estima. And Braulio Estima was preparing for ADCC 2011. And yeah, that's when I made the first Road to ADCC series. I was inspired by the UFC countdown shows. And I thought to myself, no one's ever made like a kind of a countdown show for jiu-jitsu. So that's kind of what I did with Braulio Estima. And then because I was with Braulio, I didn't actually have permission to film ADCC in 2011, but I just filmed it anyway. And every time, the security would come and check around, to see if people got their passes. And I just, yeah, just make myself invisible, just move on a little bit. And then I actually put out the ADCC 2011 highlight, and the kind of rest is history. That was what really, that was the video that went viral.
Over the years, I've watched a lot of your content, because you do a lot of like the highlight reels, but you do like a lot of like other inspirational videos using dub overs from like John Danaher, Joe Rogan, Jocko, and a lot of those guys. And it's the thing that strikes me from what you do than what a lot of other people do is that you find the relation in what people are saying to what the actual video footage is behind it. And because the videos match the audio as well, it relates with people. So if you're sticking with a specific sort of like niche, I don't know, say it's passion.
Yeah.
If it stays with that, people can relate to that. And what the key thing with these things really is that yours are between 10 and 13 minutes long. There are some longer ones, but that's also, that's just enough for somebody to sit down, have a cup of tea and watch it on their computer. But it's not so long where it's like a 30 or 40 minute like TV series where, you have to make time for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And what was that the purpose behind the way that you were doing it? Was it just kind of developing like that because that was the content you had?
Yeah, just kind of developed into that. And I started doing those. I messed around with a few of those, like, extracting the audio from podcasts a few times. But I did, I much prefer to make it my full content. I actually do the interview myself and do the video. And but during the lockdown, I've not been able to film anything. So I've got all this footage. And I really enjoy, editing these little videos, and I just love jiu-jitsu. So, and I love listening to some of these podcasts, and I listened to the John Danaher one, for example, Lex Friedman, and I was listening to it, and I pick out bits. I'm like, this is really this is pretty cool. I think people could learn from these little bits of audio here. So just take the best bits of audio from podcasts and, yeah, like you said, match them up to the relevant footage, and put it to some nice music. And it's something I just really enjoy doing, and people seem to like it. So
how do you find approaching people to do it? Because you've got some big hitters on there. Like, you talked about Brolia, you've got Andre Galvao, you've had some big names like Marcelo Garcia. How do you go about approaching those people and saying, do you want to sit down and do an interview for them?
I just reach out to them, just message them on Instagram or Facebook. I think because I was one of the first people to make these videos back in 2011. There's no one really making short films on the high-level jiu-jitsu athletes at the time. You had Budo videos doing the live stream, but you had no one doing these little short film documentary style videos showing the life of these athletes and the personalities. So at first, getting in contact with Braulio and people like that, it was easy because I don't think there was anyone else actually approaching them at the time. But now jiu-jitsu's got quite big, and there's flow grappling and stuff. Because I've been doing it so long, a lot of the athletes recognize my name. They've probably seen my videos. So I find it's actually quite easy when I reach out to some of these athletes. They've already seen my work and they're happy to do it.
So when you go to, I take it you go along to the ADCC comps and the PANs, and what do you just sort of are you invited there to do it now, or do you just kind of integrate yourself into it as a spectator and just ask the guys and film it as and when?
Back in quite a few years ago, I just show up no permission. I showed up to ADCC 2011, no permission. 2013, no permission, and I almost pretty much got thrown out of that one.
I think I remember seeing something like that, like you were hiding behind the background or something like that.
No, I was filming the whole weekend. And I was pretending. They were saying no filming. And I was like, no, I'm just taking photographs. I didn't have a pass or anything. But there was no, at ADCC 2013 in China, there was no, it wasn't like today. There was no audience, a little bit of security, some, the live stream crew, some photographers. So it was it was quite easy to kind of sneak in. But it was the last match, the absolute final, Cyborg versus Buchecha. It must have been the owner, the guy, the promoter of the venue, or I'm not sure who he was. He saw that I was filming, And right in the middle of the match, he starts screaming, you film. And he grabs my camera. And next thing you know, I've got like security coming over and I'm getting in an argument with him. I'm trying to wrestling with him, trying to get my camera back. And then Dean Lister actually comes in to save the day. And I had to quickly like get my flashcards and like hide them, in my pockets. And, it was actually Dean Lister that kind of de-escalated the situation and said, no, he's just taking photographs. What are you talking about? But it turns out the people that were filming the live stream fucked up the live stream and lost a lot of the matches. There's a lot of lost matches. They came back to me like 6 months later going, hey, like, can you hook us up with some footage? I'm like, what? You're the guys that tried to stop me from filming. But 2015, I showed up, but it was actually Budo Videos gave me permission. I showed up and all they said, just don't put anything out for 6 weeks if you can. Don't put the highlight out for 6 weeks. 2017, I can't remember why I didn't go to that one. I was in Singapore at the time teaching. I just didn't make it out there. And this is when Flow Grappling came in. 2019, I did actually have permission to film and do the highlight, but I'm not sure what's going to happen with 2022. We'll see. Flow Grappling is so big now that, I don't know, It's kind of that's kind of what happens, isn't it? It's like a sport's going to grow. Like I was like just a small time videographer, and then this big, huge media company comes in and just kind of overtake everything. But this is what it is. I'm
surprised people haven't been offering you jobs because you've got a unique angle and an aspect into making your edits and your videos. Obviously relate to people as well. So I'm surprised that people haven't reached out to you.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure why. People have, but there's not much money, So Third Coast Grappling, they wanted me to do some filming with them before COVID. And it's just, there's not that much money in the sport. For me to travel halfway across the world and film an event and do some edits, it's really got to be worth my while, like financially. Because a lot of the time I was losing money over the years. Or just breaking even. Like most of the years I was traveling, I was just breaking even. But I was happy to do that because I was getting my flights paid for, and I was on the road. It was almost like a trade. I make these videos and stuff. In return, I get to travel the world for free, just get hotels, Airbnbs and the flights. I never made that much money, but it was an amazing experience.
You mentioned that you're doing a lot of coaching now. So
yeah,
you're a first degree black belt, is that right?
It's funny. I should technically be a second, but I haven't even been given my first because I've been a black belt for 6 years now.
Okay.
And you're supposed to get a degree every 3 years, I believe. But I've not seen my professor, so I really don't know how it works. So when I go back to England, hopefully this December for Christmas to see my family. I'll ask him about it. I'm really not sure how it works.
Going back a little bit from talking about getting to your black belt, what were the gyms and the gym that you are affiliated or you are a part of them? What was your progression coming up?
So when I first started, it was a small little gym called Semtex in some really rough, rundown part of London. That's where I was doing the MMA and the Muay Thai sessions. And then they recommended I go to London Fight Factory if I just want to do jiu-jitsu. So I went to London Fight Factory. That's where I got they sold me my first gi. And I think they ripped me off from what I remember. And I was there for like a month. And then I moved back up to Northwest England and joined up at Gracie Bar at the time. I was very fortunate that just when I moved back up to Preston, I had Lucio Sergio dos Santos and Legato Rodriguez had just, relocated to England and Preston of all places. So I had like two world-class black belts teaching me right from the beginning. And then over the year, Legato ended up moving down to Roger Gracie Academy. And I think after a few years when I was around purple belt, my professor, Lucio, decided to not be with Gracie Bar anymore. He created his own, he did his own thing, which is a Lucio Sergio BJJ lifestyle. So he has academies in Southport and Manchester now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been a little bit of a kind of journeyman within a 70 to 80 mile radius of where I live because I'm still in the military. my terminal leave after when I come out after 22 years is the middle of January. So I've been bouncing around clubs between Plymouth, Exmouth or Exeter where I live, and North Devon, because there's a place that my friend opened up. That's literally, I was training there not an hour ago, and I'm still under Kenny Baker, who's down in Plymouth under Flow Martial Arts, and I don't know, it's quite difficult. But I'm kind of, am I moaning? I don't think I am. I'm moaning a little bit.
Well, we're English. We always moan.
We love a good drip, don't we?
We do. It's in our
it's
culture.
like bouncing between 3 different places, and I know it's difficult. It's easy for people to say, well, you're really lucky because you've got lots of places to train. But I've had these 3 places to train in now, and I'm going to have to go back to where I originally started, I think, maybe. I'm not sure yet. I haven't really made a decision because, an hour's drive for me, I don't know, it's quite significant. But I'm talking to somebody that lives in Canada, and the distances to travel there is much significant. It's like Australia, and those distances there are crazy.
It's really crazy. I'm actually doing a super fight in Nova Scotia, Canada, in January 22nd, and I just assumed, oh, it's Canada, it's only going to be like a 2-hour flight. Holy shit, it's like a 9-hour flight. It's like cooking to get back to England.
Yeah, but I think we flew to New York for the Masvidal and Diaz fight, and that was only like 7.5 hours or something like that.
Yeah, it's much like San Diego. I'm flying to Denver tomorrow. That's like 2.5 hours. It's not far. San Diego, get there in 3 hours. Seattle is an hour. So,
have you found with your filmography and now being a black belt that's helped you out significantly with, you obviously travel around to coach and do seminars. Does that help you a lot?
So what, the filming?
Yeah, so with the filming side of it, you've got your name on your edits, and that they're they're obviously really well known within the jiu-jitsu community now. So when you go traveling around the world, and you obviously bounce in and out of different academies to do little seminars and things like that. Has that helped you with you?
It really has, yeah, because it's helped get my name out there, because I've got my watermark on all my videos, and I always put a film by Stuart Cooper. So my videos have got, like, my YouTube channel is something like 25 million views, something like that, maybe just less. So it's a great way to, get my name out there. But it's taken, people like associate me with just the videos, and it's taken a while for people to realize I actually like compete, and teach as well. So yeah, that's why I'm getting back into competition now, because I'm 36. I've got a few years left, and before I start getting more injuries. So yeah, just want to go out there, compete, and show what I've been working on. Have
you got your own academy in Vancouver?
Yeah, so I'm part of Diaz Combat Sports, and that's Chinatown in Vancouver. So it's a huge world-class facility. It's like 3 floors, and I'm on the 3rd floor. So it's like Stuart Cooper Jiu-Jitsu, but it's on the 3rd floor, like within Diaz Combat Sports.
Oh, nice. So when you're there and you're training, you've obviously got access to a lot of these high-level guys. Who do you look to the most for inspiration? So, like, who are your favorite grapplers that you kind of feed off?
My favorite ones to watch. I love watching, Gordon Ryan. Because he really is he's the best. Because just everything he does, he just looks so calm. He's just like step by step. When he's playing guard, when he's guard passing, it's just the way he shuts down these world-class grapplers. And I'm like watching him, like, yeah, I know this sweeper, I know this guard pass, but why is he getting it to work so well? So I really play it back, and there's little details there that he's doing that I'm just missing.
Have you ever been down to John Danaher's place at Henzo's and had some instruction with them?
No, I haven't. No, I never had the opportunity, unfortunately. Yeah, I really intended to. There's so many places. I will go to eventually. I will go to the B team, in Austin, Texas, probably next year. And I'll probably go to John Danaher's as well, which is New Wave Jiu-Jitsu.
I've talked about this a few times on other podcasts, but I always find that the people that you have a good rapport with are sometimes the guys that make really difficult techniques or something that's a quite technical aspect, like maybe an open guard pass or something like that, and they break those details right down to the finites. So even the lowest white belt who's just started can understand the concept behind doing it. And I think if you can find coaches like that, that's only ever going to bring your game on the most. I mean, have you found that training around the world?
Yeah. I had a great professor, but I left him when I was purple belt. I mean, I didn't leave him; I'm still under him. But when I was purple belt, I was like traveling around the world, so I didn't really get to learn too much off him. Like my brown and black belt is my jiu-jitsu's from all around the world. It's from this guy, and a lot of online stuff. But what I've done, what I never used to do, but I do a lot now, is watch instructionals. And I find that I love the John. It's not for everybody. Some people can't find him very long-winded, the John Danaher instructionals. But I love the details he goes into. I like the fact that he speaks really slowly and calmly and draws it out, because I enjoy it. The Gordon Ryan instructionals are great. The Lachlan Giles ones, and I've just watched the best matches. What the best guys are doing. Like Gordon Ryan, Craig Jones, Lucas Barboza. I want to see Yuri Simos. I want to see what they're doing, because they're getting these techniques to work on world-class opponents. So, I find like my jiu-jitsu's actually got better in the last 3 years than the previous 9. Just from, I've got more, my body understands jiu-jitsu now. I've already developed my game. There's just like a new way of learning. John Danaher's really broke it down into like these subsystems, like this overall system and the subsystems. So I'm taking my time learning each one of the subsystems, like the Kimura system, the leg lock system, the back attack system. So I've just been pretty much almost self-taught, over the last 3 or 4 years. Well, I wouldn't say self-taught, but learning online and from watching matches.
Who do you find are the best people to film that that have got that sort of like cinematic like star persona? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So the guys that
Braulio was great. I loved filming Braulio Steamer. He's such a character. He's very comfortable on camera. He was ahead of his time, I believe. If it wasn't for his neck, I think he'd still be on top. He was so technical that he really like fought outside of the box. He was always good to film with. Who else? I liked filming with Marcelo, because he was just such, he's quite shy. He's just like an everyday type of guy. He's not very loud, but he's like incredibly interesting, had a lot of interesting things to say. And he's one of my favorite grapplers ever. I had some good times filming with Cyborg Abreu, but I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding him right now. I've not looked into it too much. I'm trying to stay out of all that stuff online.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I was actually talking about it tonight, actually, is jiu-jitsu politics.
Oh my God, yeah, there's a lot of it.
It's crazy. And
it's getting more popular. Yeah, it's just going to get worse, I think.
I mean, I've never really been into the competition scene, and my daughter's been training now for 3 or 4 years, and she started entering a couple of competitions now. They've started happening again back here in the UK, and I've always been aware of sideline coaching and people screaming and getting passionate with it, but more so with kids as well, and especially the tie knits with your clubs as well. The people getting behind them, they're like, it's almost like verging football hooliganism. That's how bad it is. I can't imagine what it's like at some of these super high level places.
Yeah, it is. You're right. But even in the media, there's a lot of politics with like filming of the media, like the ADCC and the flow grappling and all that stuff. I experienced that a couple of years ago. I won't go into too much detail.
Do you not find that sometimes it's kind of it's a good and a bad thing as well? Because if there's no sort of characters or any sort of story behind any of these sort of like political dramas, then none of it's ever going to be in the media. But then if it's not going to be in the media, then you're not going to see any promotion behind it. I use Gordon Ryan as the example, because
he's so controversial,
yeah,
isn't he? Yeah, but like
he's like an MMA version of Conor McGregor, just shit talking, but they're doing it in such a constructive way, and you can kind of see what it is. It's building the fights up, but you're also having that love-hate relationship with somebody too.
Yeah, like he does do a great job of bringing attention, and like a lot of it I get, like it's very clever the way he's like the whole thing with Galvao where he slapped him like twice. Everyone's so excited for that super fight, Galvao versus Gordon Ryan. But yeah, he does talk a lot of shit online as well, where some of his stuff is like, dude, just shut up. But some of it's quite funny.
Yeah, I've been looking at sort of the some of the matches, especially that one now that's been confirmed, the super fight for the ADCC next year.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
What are your thoughts on some of the matches that are that have been sort of semi-scheduled for next year? Do you think it's going to be? They all say this year's going to be the best year ever, but it's the same with any of them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. There's always going to be because there's always the next guy, isn't there? But yeah, like I'm really excited for that Galvao versus Gordon Ryan. I think if anyone can beat Gordon Ryan, it's Galvao in the ADCC rule set. But I think by 2022, he might be 42 or something. But he really understands that rule set, and he's got wrestling on his side. And I think he's got better wrestling than Gordon Ryan. But Gordon Ryan's shown that he just has this ability to just, I think it's how hard work he puts in. But I've seen the hard work. I was there for Galvao's ADCC 2019 training camp, and this guy pushes himself. Like it's pretty ridiculous what he puts himself through, I've heard stories like from Josh Young and Lucas Balboa that some of the training sessions he pushes himself so hard that they had to grab his hands and his legs because his full body went into muscle cramps. So they had to grab him and stretch him out. So it becomes like the 3 months leading up to ADCC, he just becomes a man possessed, and he brings a certain like aggression and physicality and understanding of the rule set. I mean, I think technically Gordon Ryan's better, but I would probably lean towards Gordon. But I think everyone is leaning towards Gordon for that one. I'm not aware of some of the other matches that are happening that have been announced. One that I want to see is Lucas Barboza versus Craig Jones. That would be a good one. I'm interested in that because Lucas Barboza is on a roll right now. I think he's better suited to 88 kilograms as well. He's not that big of a guy.
I'm one of these guys that, like I said to you before we started the podcast, because I'm interested in surfing, so I know all the guys, a few of the guys there, and there's lots of content and stuff over there. I think there's just so many names out there that that you can talk about. I'm going to be a little bit ignorant with this because I know all the names that you've just, you've stated out, but I couldn't say what he's in this weight category or, I just enjoyed turning it on, signing up to Flow Grappling and going, boom, there it is. And just, just watching the whole event roll out, because then it's like, I don't know, it's like if you've never watched rugby league before and you just switch it on and then you start learning the names as you're going along. But then the year after, when the team changes, you're doing it all again, right?
Yeah, I love UK are doing a good job with these grappling events as well. I love like Grapplefest, what they're doing. They're getting some big names on there. Polaris as well. I really want to compete in that Polaris show. I'll get on there.
I went and watched one of the first ones down in Poole. Like it must have been about 7 or 8 years ago now, and it's such a cool atmosphere. I love watching the Polaris, and I think because it's a UK based one as well.
It's my favorite grappling event. I think it's the best. I like their rule set as well. I enjoy watching the EBI and Submission Underground, but I don't like if I was to, I wouldn't like competing in that rule set, where if there's no submission in the first 5-10 minutes, you go to overtime and then someone starts in your back or someone starts in the spider web, the arm lock position, because it's not really the best guy that wins, because you'll always get people playing to the rules. People could stall out for the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes, however long the regulation is, but they're really good at escaping the back, or they're really good in the spider web position, and they beat you at 2. They could get completely dominated in the regulation, and then in the overtime they have a faster escape time, or they're really good at finishing in the spider web position.
Yeah, I think
it's still
with that type of competition, it's quite easy to kind of stall out a little bit if you know the other guy's going to be quite dominant over you. What are your thoughts on like the combat jiu-jitsu? Do you watch much of that?
Yeah, actually, Eddie Bravo invited me on it in 2019. I actually bumped into him at ADCC, and I just saw Eddie. Eddie's like, "Hey, Stu, how's it going?" I'm like, "Good, good." He goes, "Hey, what do you weigh right now?" I'm like, "I know, 195." He goes, "You want to compete combat jiu-jitsu 185?" I'm like, "When is it?" He's like, "November," and we were in September. And I'm like, man, I literally just had knee surgery 4 months ago. He goes, "What did you have done?" I went, "Meniscus." He goes, "You'll be fine. I'll put your name down." I'm like, no, it wasn't meniscus. It wasn't scoped. It was meniscus repair. And that takes a lot longer to come back from. And he's like, "Well, go back to Vancouver, train, and get back to me. I'll pencil you in for now." I went back to Vancouver. I tried to do a little bit of rolling. My knee just swelled up. I wasn't rolling until January the following year. So, and then he said, I said, "Please think of me for the next one." And the next one in my weight division just went, actually. But by the time it came around, I wasn't actually interested in it anymore. I like jiu-jitsu. I'm not really there to slap someone,
Yeah.
I suppose it would have been fun, but my friend did it. One of my training partners here in Vancouver, Ben Dyson, he was invited on it. And that was another reason I didn't really want to ask to be on it as well. Because there's a chance me and Ben could have got matched up. And Ben's a friend. I do not want to slap him in the face. So he went along, and he did great, actually. I think he got 2 submissions. He got to the semi-final, and he had a good performance.
You can take some right little beatings there, though, because it's...
Oh, yeah. Ben put it on the guy in the semi-final. He was slapping this guy hard.
It's not really slapping, though, is it? It's like open hand palm strikes.
Yeah. Oh, there's a few. I think there was 2 TKOs on that show. So yeah, it's you can really do some damage. Wagner Rocha has got a couple TKOs in that show.
I don't know. I'm not really sold on it that much, I don't think, at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's bringing EBI back, though. He's actually bringing the original one back. So
yeah, I mean
I think that's better.
Been run for quite a few years now. It must have been about 5 or 6 years.
No, because I remember asking him about it, because I reached out to Eddie and said, "Hey, can I get on EBI?" And he goes, "Combat Jiu-Jitsu is EBI now." I'm like, "Oh, right, really?" So he goes, "Yeah, if you want to do EBI, it's with slaps." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But then I don't know who it was. I think it was one of his black belts, Michael Plaster. He's one of his videographers. He told me recently they're bringing EBI back.
Oh, right, nice.
Yeah. So
yeah, really good to hear. And it's just another competition that you can get your lips around as well, right?
Yeah, that's what I love about jiu-jitsu now, especially the no-gi scene, is you don't have to go to the no-gi worlds and pay IBJJF X amount of money, for a registration fee, a yearly IBJJF card. There's so many hidden costs, and you can go all the way to IBJJF and lose a controversial ref decision in your first match, and you just spent thousands of dollars flying across the world, to lose a ref decision or lose by a negative. But there's all these different rule sets, Look at Craig Jones. He makes fun of himself. He's never actually won a gold medal. He's done the no-gi worlds, and I think he medaled when he was purple belt, but he's made a career just off super fights, just doing Grapplefest, Polaris, EBI, who's number one. He just does 1 matches. He's done a few tournaments as well, like side grappling. But what he's done, even though he's not become a world champion, he's beaten many, many world champions. So you don't have to go to the worlds and do the IBJJF tournaments anymore. There's a lot of other options and lots of rule sets as well.
And especially he's got a really good clothing range as well, with those leopard print shorts that he wears all the time.
Yeah. He's got a good sense of humor, Craig Jones. I love the little back and forth he has with Gabby Garcia. It's clearly for fun.
I don't know. That'd be a good super fight.
Yeah, I think Craig takes that pretty easy. She's a huge. I actually saw her at. I met her a bunch of times. I can't believe it. She's a big woman. She's tall, very broad.
Some of the best like older women fights that I used to like watching were the Mackenzie Dern and the Gabby Garcia ones.
Yeah.
They were epic fights. They were.
They were, weren't they? Yeah.
How do you find jiu-jitsu with sort of like mindset and sort of like for mental therapy? Because you know here in the UK we've got a few charities like Reorg, a guy I know set all that up. All in aid of sort of like veterans and you know ex sort of like blue light guys for sort of therapy. I mean, how do you find it? Do you reckon that if you stop training, that you may have some issues with it?
Sorry about that. My cat. It's the other one. Yeah, I think a lot of it gives people like a purpose and meaning. Like a lot of people, they go to work and stuff, and they might not enjoy the job, but the highlight of the day is going to jiu-jitsu afterwards. It's like it's not just training, and it's just so much. It has so many benefits because it's very social. You know, you go into jiu-jitsu, and it's almost like your own little social club. Everyone's friends. We're all there, learning together. You know, it's. You know, during the lockdown, this was taken away from a lot of people, you know, and I think a lot of mental health is being, you know, kind of ignored with these lockdowns. I think, you know, they've been so focused on, you know, COVID, but yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is great, you know, for people with anxiety, depression, you know, it definitely helped me a lot. When I first started jiu-jitsu, I was quite introverted, actually. I had no, you know, self-esteem, no confidence at all. My first day at jiu-jitsu, I couldn't really look people in the eye. I just stayed to myself in the corner. I was really like, you know, I was a very anxious person. I had a lot of social anxiety. And through jiu-jitsu, it made me comfortable around people, having to, you know, be so close with people and interact with them, discuss the techniques, drill together. But you go from one partner to another partner. So you're talking to this person. And just over the years, I just started to develop a lot more self-confidence and also developing skills as well. You know, I started to get more confident, you know, just in other situations, you know, if like someone was to approach me in an aggressive way, you know, I'm just much more calm because I know I can handle myself.
I think that is quite a key thing as well. Is it's definitely the confidence piece in it. I've found over the years that I've used surfing and I've used jiu-jitsu as like you say, as an escapism of not going home and cracking a can open or boozing, just to kind of like bide the time away or like to let yourself go to sleep. To be honest with you, like the age I am now, I'm not saying I'm old at all, but just the thought of having a drink just to go to sleep, it doesn't even come into my mind at all. And like you say, just having that, not escapism, because I don't really need to escape from anything, I don't think at the moment, but it's just you're keeping yourself physically active. It's an addictive sport as well because there is no real right and wrong way to do things. It's all to do with your body mechanics and how the way that you move and you interpret things as well. And likewise with surfing as well, you know, it's a very similar thing because it's the way that you move and the way that you read things as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible sport, you know. And you could be having a bad day for whatever reason, and you could go home and drink a beer, you know, to like kind of like cool down, and you know the alcohol hits those GABA receptors, which comes down. Or you could go jiu-jitsu, you know, and releases way more endorphins. You're doing something that's like very healthy and beneficial to well, not all the time. You get a lot of injuries with it, but also I think it releases a lot of oxytocin as well doing jiu-jitsu.
I mean, I was kind of like a similar frame of mind today. I was a little bit lethargic. I've trained quite a bit this week, even though it's, you know, Wednesday, and I was kind of, I was just lying down. I was going, I don't really want to go, but I went, and you know, I just took it a little bit easy, but I went and trained and did a bit of sparring and stuff, and I think that's, you know, what's kind of good about it as well is that even when you're having a bad day or you don't physically feel like you're up to it, even if you pull yourself to it, even if it's just to go and see it, you know, a few of your mates that you train with as well, it has a really positive effect on your mentality too.
Yep. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, even like now I'm teaching, you know, like there's some days like it happens all the time. Like I might be a bit frustrated with something. Like I think it was last week actually. My computer I was editing my new video, and my computer just kept like crashing again and again. I was like ready to just punch the computer screen, just break my laptop. And I just turned up to jiu-jitsu, and just everyone's there, and everyone's like having a good time, and was talking, and like just all that just went away. You know, it's like nothing happened. You know, like you said, yeah, there's days where you just don't want to go. I'm just a bit tired today, but you're always glad that you did go afterwards.
That's true.
You know, I think it's just waking your body up, getting the blood pumping around your body. Yeah. It could be anything. It doesn't have to just be jiu-jitsu. It could be, you know, go into badminton. You know, I think it's very important for people to have like some kind of like group, you know, of people where you all have a similar interest. You know, here in Vancouver, you get people getting together on those. I'm not sure what you call these, like tricycle wheels, you know, like they're electric. You stand on them, and like you have like the electric scooters that you stand on, and you also have the one wheel.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure what they're called.
It's like a Segway sort of thing.
Yeah, you stand in it and you just start, like, you see them on, like, you've got the bike pathway. They're very popular in Vancouver, and you get like groups of people getting together in the evening after work. And I'm on my bike, and I just see like 15 people go past on these like electric wheels, you know, they've got like fluorescent lights going around, just zooming past me. They have like helmets on, and it looks so much fun. One of my students actually does it. And I'm not sure how old he is. He's probably like, maybe like 50 or something. But he was telling me he loves it. He just feels like a kid again.
Well, until you fall off in front of a group of people and they're all laughing at you.
Right, yeah.
It's got misery written all over it, that has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
Mate, we've talked a lot about jiu-jitsu and over sort of the past 45 minutes. You know, what other interests do you have? What other passions do you have going on at the moment?
I love hiking, you know. I love being outdoors. I'm not really an indoor type of person, you know. I can only stay indoors for a few hours before I get antsy and fidgety. So I love like going and just being out in nature, you know, just hanging out with friends. Vancouver in the summer is awesome because it's great weather. It's perfect. It's not too hot like Thailand and Singapore, and like you just get together with friends on the beach in the evening, sit around a little campfire on the beach and have some beers, or, you know, take some microdose of mushrooms or smoke some shisha. Just having a good time, you know, just going for hikes, you know, in Squamish. Like British Columbia is amazing, you know, for that kind of thing, like camping and hiking. So I just love doing stuff like that. But yeah, I love, I like to run as well, you know, a couple times a week, not so much in the winter because it rains so much. I'm really into my weightlifting as well, always have been. Yeah, and my jiu-jitsu, yeah, so.
Have you ever done any like movement classes or anything like that?
I'm gonna start actually. My gym, Diaz Combat Sports, we're opening up a second location across the road of where we already are, and it's going to be a straight yoga facility. We're going to have hot yoga, the normal yoga, but there's many types of yoga. We're going to have hot yoga, maybe Pilates as well, and possibly some movement class as well. But I'm 36 and just sitting here right now, I'm trying to keep my back straight against the wall. I'm feeling, you know, stiff. You know, I don't feel like when I was like 26. It's amazing. Because when I turned 34, all of a sudden, the last 2 years, I've noticed that I need a lot of it's actually a prescription for me. I need one massage a week, at least one physio and one acupuncture just to maintain, you know. So I'm moving away from like weightlifting because it's not making my body feel like I'll do squats and deadlifts, but it's just making that in jiu-jitsu, and my body's just getting tighter and tighter. And I feel now I'm going to start getting more into the yoga because I want longevity. You know, I don't want to, there's some people I've done privates with over the years, and they're in the 50s, and they didn't really look after themselves. They like went hard with jiu-jitsu and lifting weights, and the bodies are beaten up now. Like I'll be showing them an arm triangle, just crawling their arm up to here, and then they tap just because the shoulders are so stiff. It's like, I do not want to be like that. So I'm really working a lot on flexibility right now. So, because I want to be able to do this. I know I'm not going to be able to roll hard, forever, but I want to be able to like, roll, up until like, quite a late age,
I used to do a lot of strength training, a lot of weightlifting, compound exercises, and doing that with jiu-jitsu is, I can't do it anymore. I just feel like I've been run over every single day. So over the lockdown, I started watching a lot of YouTube yoga videos. I took a few exercises out of that and made my own flows with it, which helped a lot, because I suffer with lower back issues quite a bit.
For me, it's mid back. It's my mid back. Yeah. My low back seems good so far. I've got neck issues, which has got better over the years. But my biggest problem is my elbows. I've got arthritis in my elbows. So after every training session, my elbows are on fire. So
I'm going to sell this now. So, like I mentioned before at the start, I'm leaving the military, and I've become a qualified Bowen technique therapist. And I've just opened a clinic where I live, and my mum's been doing it for 20 odd years. And it's like when a parent or a significant other that's close to you tries to tell you or help you with something, you're like that. Yeah, cheers. But she really helped me, and she introduced me to Bowen, and I did the first couple of modules and saw significant results out of it. So Bowen's a really light, non-invasive therapy that you do like little rolling moves around the body, and it's great for things like tennis elbow.
I'll have to look into this.
If you look for a Bowen therapist around your area, look for people that do like the original Bowen technique. So what makes it significantly different is between each series of moves, there are breaks in between it, which engages your brain's neural pathways for each of the areas that have just had these rolling moves done over it to help recovery. Because the idea of it is to unwind the tension in your muscles for then your body to recover from it. Because it's never going to recover when your body's super tense. I love it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it for a business. So yeah, look into it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, anything that's going to make my body feel nice and loose again. Every morning I have to stretch in the morning now. Do the downward dog, the upward dog. There's a few set stretches that I do. Because everything in jiu-jitsu is just pulling forward. So I find it brings your shoulders forwards. It can give you a curved back. So it's trying to do everything that pulls it back again.
Yeah, cool.
The massage therapist that I go and see her like every week. She's always so dramatic, always saying, "You need to stop doing what you're doing, and your body's getting worse." It's like in a Ukrainian accent. I'm like, I can't. This is what I do. I love it. It's like
should be over more dramatic than she is, and she's like, "If I stop, it's like telling me to stop breathing."
yeah. But she's encouraging me to take up yoga and do more like Thai massages. But she's right. I know what she's saying. But
mate, we've been going for an hour now, so I've got a few questions that I put out to the local community around here, jiu-jitsu community. So excuse some of these because some of them are a bit, you'll see what I mean in a minute. So the first one's from Al Gayson, and he asks, what is your favorite pizza topping?
Ooh, my favorite pizza topping. I like the capricosa. So that's like, what's it called? It's got like olives, like sun-dried tomatoes on there, artichoke, mushrooms. I like those kind of pizzas. Definitely not ham and pineapple.
What? You don't like a Hawaiian?
I actually do like a Hawaiian, but my girlfriend never allows me to order one. She's like very traditional, like, Italians, you get offended by ham and pineapple, but it tastes good.
It's amazing. It's such a good combination. Tomato, cheese, and pineapple. Baby. Who doesn't like that, right?
Yeah. What's not to like?
Right. Craig asks, what was your favorite filming experience?
Ooh, my favorite film experience. That's a damn good question. I'll probably say ADCC 2019. Yeah, that was a great one, just because the atmosphere there, the audience, it was, that was a good one. I really enjoyed that weekend. And there was incredible matches as well.
It was, if I can remember off the top of my head, I love watching that one. And I think that was one of the first ones I watched all the way through as well.
Yes, yeah. And in terms of films, like filmmaking, probably like Film with Braulio, actually, because me and him traveled together. I'm actually releasing a video with him soon. Just when I come back to England, there's a little bit more interview footage I need with him. He's going to tell a really cool story from him winning 2009 all the way up to 2013. After 2009, he got double gold, and then he injured his neck. He got a very bad neck injury where he was actually paralyzed for 6 minutes of doing a single leg takedown where he spiked himself on his head. I have the video footage as well. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch. So it's about his recovery, his neck surgery, and then he came back in 2011 to beat Jacare to become the super fight champion of ADCC. So it's an incredible story where he pretty much his career was over. His doctor said, you'll never do jiu-jitsu again. But he has such a strong mind. But just traveling with Braulio, around like Recife, Brazil, and like Miami, Florida, Boca Raton, Florida, went to the Black Zillions. We just had great times, So traveling and filming with him, that's the best. He's a good person to go out, go traveling with and party.
Yeah, he
with.
seems like a really good character. I'd love to have a little.
He is. He's a good person.
I'd love to have a little chat with him, maybe one day.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
So the next one's from Ronnie, and he asks, "Would you prefer to roll with the smelly gi guy or the guy that's got nails that would fillet a fish?"
Oof. Smelly gi guy.
Yeah, no one wants those lacerations around the face and the neck, do they?
No.
Okay, Tanya asks, have you ever thought of doing a film on jiu-jitsu red belts?
I actually haven't, because there was someone else that was supposed to do that, but it never got made. You know about that one, right?
Is this an offline conversation?
Not really. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about the guy, but because he's done a lot for the sport over the years. But I think it was in 2012, Hal Teague from BJJ Hacks. At the time, he now works with Flow Grappling. He actually saved up a bunch of money on Indiegogo to make a red belts documentary, but I'm not sure. I really don't know what happened with that. I really don't know. But I think he said he's still going to make it. So I think he's still going to make a red belts documentary. I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe he's too busy. Maybe I should ask him if he wants.
Just do a bit of a collaboration with him.
Yeah, we've done a collaboration before. Yeah. So, but yeah, he got a lot of stick for that. But I don't know what happened. I really don't know. But he has done a lot for the jiu-jitsu community. But yeah,
I don't know. I think if you're trying to tie lots of different red belts into it, maybe there's some form of politics we were talking about earlier that might tie into that too a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
It's a deep one, that.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a deep one, yeah.
Okay, and the last one from Simon, and he asks, do you like salad?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Beautiful.
That was a random one.
It is. Stuart Cooper, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast, and thanks for spinning some of them stories, mate.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. Cheers, mate.
And that's it. If you like the podcast, like, share, and subscribe on your podcast provider. And also follow us on Instagram. Cheers.